The setup quest in Escape from Tarkov is where boys become men, where men become babies, and then hopefully by the end of it, where we become done with this fucking task for at least one more wipe. It's not that setup is the hardest task to do in Tarkov, it's not, by a long shot. However, it is always one of those things that you just can't be sure about. You could spend days wearing your flappy hat, toting the new scav vest your mom bought you, all the while terrorizing the population of customs with your boomstick, or you could be a weirdo who knocks this quest out in only a couple of hours without so much as even one setback. Either way, today we take a journey through time and tell the story of how I got setup done this wipe in Escape from Tarkov. The first thing I'd like to do is give you a helpful hint about completing the setup quest. As you may or may not know by now, setup has you kill 15 PMC while wearing a Ushanka and a scav vest. You also have to use a shotgun. I'm happy to report that this man here, Jaeger, will give you a fancy new scav vest for the low price of 1 chocolate bar. See, the fact that Jaeger will trade clothing for chocolate tells me all I ever needed to know about just what kind of man he is. Another thing you need to know right now. I'm going to be using the AP-20 slugs throughout this video. They're a bit of a high level ammo, which is why I waited so long to do this quest. I didn't even want to think about doing this without bullets that actually work. Anyways, that's enough learning for now, no more of that. Time to start murdering. Oh, and our special guest for today is Arson. He will be my emotional and physical support for this episode. We spawned into customs near the dorms. It was suggested to me that I don't do this quest in the dorms, as it tends to be a little more difficult to win fights with a shotgun here. So of course the first thing we did was run straight to the 3-story dorms. After saying hello to one of the residents inside, I went up to the marked room just to satisfy my greedy soul. I took home a docs case and left the dog tag case to my partner in crime as payment for his services. So whenever I find a docs case or a wallet in marked room, I like to play a little game. It's called Get Out of the Raid as Fast as I Can. See, I purposely don't look inside the case when I'm in the raid. Inside, I could find any number of rare and valuable keycards. What I like to do first is get out before looking to build suspense. After all, there could literally be hundreds of millions of rubles worth of keys inside. So we got out, and guess what? There was nothing good inside. However, we'll call the 400k I made on the docs case a victory, and head back inside to actually do my quest. We went back in, I discussed cleaning products with Arson, and we hunted down my first target. We dashed into this building. Someone was already in green screen room. I rushed up to fight him, but Arson had swiftly dealt with him already. I searched the room for more, then someone threw a grenade at us. We managed to avoid getting blown to bits and determined that the enemy was in the room across from the one I was in. Then, I thought I'd get brave, and the enemy thought I should get dead. This felt like the setup I had come to know and love. Let's edit out a large portion of what comes next and get to the part where we get back into a raid and stumble upon more enemies. We heard people right on the other side of this wall here. I actually managed to squeeze a bullet through the cracks of the fence and hit one of them. The battle was on. We heard a lot of scurrying and I moved right to try and cut them off before they could jump over the wall. Then I got shot through this crack in the wall. In all my years, I've never had such a strange encounter with this wall, where me and the enemy both exchanged nutty shots like this. I don't think either of us took too much damage from it, but it was still a sight to behold. More scurrying, then jumping. It was my time to shine. Unfortunately, I'm not very bright, and I missed all but one of my shots. Then, Arson took him down for me. With the way this is going so far, you'd think this video wasn't about me, seeing as how I haven't done anything worthwhile yet. Soon, this would change. I sniffed out the stench of what smelled like my first kill of this video, carefully lined up a few shots, and slapped him with a bullet, much like you're about to slap that subscribe button for me. Or if you'd prefer a more gentler approach, playfully poke that subscribe button. I won't judge. We looted up and moved to Ruaf, where we heard more fighting. I put these slugs to work and dropped another enemy. I was 2 kills into my 15 kill journey, and I was feeling good. Next raid started off much like the first raid. Dorms, marked room, good loot. Then I heard the call of my people off in the distance towards the Ruaf gate. I ran as fast as I could, knowing how golden this opportunity to third party a situation could be. Emerging from the shrubbery, I saw a lone wolf near the corner of the ice cream building and took him down. Barked into the mic a little bit, then pushed up. Shots started popping off from all sides, including a shotgun scav that was just up the road from me. Shotgun scavs are actually the deadliest thing in Tarkov, so I ran to the other side to get away from him. Here, I faced a less threatening challenge, 2 real players. Even in the face of adversity, getting shot from more directions than I know how to count, I stayed calm and lined up my shots. I dropped the closer opponent and then pushed up to the dumpster to take on the next one. After a long standoff, I heard the beautiful sound of a man dying and I cried out in excitement. 3 men had died by my hand. 5 out of 15 kills were achieved. While looting, Arson started getting yelled at by another man's bullets. We searched the area and I saw a man through the other side of the gate in front of me. I got closer and saw him through the gap where these walls meet, and then turned that man into kill number 6 out of 15. After some more looting, a scav startled me and quickly met his end. This must have been a sign from God, because thanks to this scav, I was ready for when this PMC came into my vision. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a raid to remember. We had brought down 5 PMC this raid alone, and pushed our progress to 7 out of 15 kills for setup. Then, riding my high from my achievement, I accidentally shot Arson in the leg because he startled me. He didn't mind though, because he knew I was on high alert. He was proud of me for how well I was doing. This was going much faster than either of us expected. Before we get back into the next raid, I'd like to give you one more tip. Try to wait on doing the silent caliber task, which has you kill PMC and scav with a suppressed shotgun, until you receive the setup task. This way you can get 2 birds stoned at the same time. Next raid, spawned in, almost died to this scav, then almost died to this scav. We move towards the end of the map in hopes of catching someone coming from that spawn. I see a fellow down the wall and take a few shots. Missed, pushed up, almost died to yet another scav that I couldn't see at first, then I healed up. I heard movement inside the building in front of me and took a stab in the dark and shot through this tarp. I wish I could tell you I magically hit him in the head and pulled off an insane shot. I cannot do that. I can tell you he then came outside and tried to catch an AP-20 slug. He did do that. Remembering that the last guy I just fought did not look like the first guy I initially saw, I moved to the wall to look for said first guy. He popped up on the road ahead. I gave that man something he never asked for. Now listen closely.
I'm just about to be done with this quest in like 2 more raids, if that, bro.
That right there, that 2 more raids line, would most definitely not end up being the case. But we're not at that part of the story just yet. So let's move on for now. We cleared the area, then started to make our way over to the ZB013 extract. Once inside the building to turn the power on, we heard movement outside. I waited for a little while until I heard fighting, then pushed out the door. It wasn't as smooth as I'd hoped, but I still got my way in the end. This put us at 10 out of 15 kills for setup. Now it's time for that mid-video crisis. You knew it was coming. They say that nothing worth having comes easy. I say that frame of mind is bungus. After my next death, to add insult to injury, the Tarkov servers caught fire. 2:08:22, 2:53:40. Why am I saying these numbers to you now? Well, this is the exact timestamp of the moment I last died to the very moment I actually got back into a raid. I spent approximately 45 minutes, give or take a few precious seconds, watching the servers burn. Looking back at it now, I'm appalled it was this long. I didn't think anything of it at the time. I had 45 minutes to reflect on my last death before getting to jump back in. 45 minutes of a slow, salty dry rub on my freshly burned rump. My next raid was mostly uneventful. We did, however, fight Rashala and friends, as well as find another Willer's wallet in the marked room. Unfortunately, we didn't get any keycards out of it. Back at it, this next raid was a doozy. I need to tell you guys something, but it's going to be a little complicated to get out. Give me a second. Okay, I'm dumb. I run this program on my live streams called BitBot. It allows my viewers to control my character against my will at the small cost of a little real-life money. This usually is harmless fun. Viewers get a laugh, I get to eat for another day. However, sometimes BitBot can get really bad. If you wanted to, technically, you could BitBot me so hard that I wouldn't be able to move in a straight line, let alone kill somebody in a fight. For example, it took me far too much longer than I'd like to admit just to get in this window here, because my chat would not stop spinning my character. Long story short, things are about to get a little weird. I eventually made my way up to 2nd floor and saw an enemy or 2 down the hall. When you see me randomly spin and fire my gun, just know that was BitBot. I tried my hardest to fight off the enemy, but there were 2 of them and only 1 of me. I backed down to the 1st floor to heal up. I decided flanking around and cutting off their exit was my best move. My chat decided staring at the ground like an idiot was my actual best move. Eventually, after no enemy movement, me and Arson decided to push in from opposite ends and pincer the enemy. I'm pretty sure I accidentally shot Arson here, and he probably won't know that until he watches this. Then I died because it turns out the other enemy was sitting in a room just behind me. This was my least favorite moment of this whole quest. I wonder if you could see that reflected in my face at the time. We move on, back at it again. We heard shots coming from construction, so we had to act fast. We pushed through the wall, and I spotted a prone enemy next to the gas tanks. We exchanged a few shots, and then I go back in for round 2. I try to get some cheeky angles, but can't seem to connect. So I get aggressive with it. Push up, pop off shots when I can, but lose visual on the enemy. Then I spot him falling back, and with the power of AP-20, tap him once and take him down. A few more things happened. Arson laid out this guy, we looted, and got out. A quick one and done to get this puppy back on track. 11 out of 15 kills. Next raid, we get the luxury of a huge fight popping off at gas station. We investigate. Our detective work uncovered that shit was indeed going down. I got bold and pushed over the wall to pursue this man that I saw. Dropped him, but then things got 10 times worse. Brushottie plus guards were here. Scavs were also making guest appearances, and there were PMC nearby. I dropped a second PMC, then went inside the gas station for cover. Arson made his way over to me. It had taken him a little longer to get here because he went through the door like a civilized human. Before he got to the gas station, he was greeted by Rushalla's goons. I saved his life with this quick no-scope, and then he ran inside. Then we took a moment to heal and catch our bearings. We heard the surrounding PMC taking out the remaining Rushalla guards around us. We knew a fight was imminent. I had seen one of them up on the hills above earlier, and I tried to get a cheeky angle on that with no avail. However, soon I heard the footsteps of a PMC running up on us, and I held my position. Like earlier in the video, I pushed out when I heard fighting to try and catch the enemy off guard. He unfortunately was not where I had predicted he would be, and after what I think you can call a fight, I died. In my books, it was a good round. We had good fights, intense action, and I had taken down 2 more enemies, 13 out of 15 kills for setup. At this point, once again, the servers had caught fire. Things were getting even weirder. Upon my last death, I loaded back into the menu, with my full kit on from before I had entered the raid. It was like I was being given a second chance. I wasted no time at all, didn't question this strange phenomenon, and went into another raid with my ghost kit. I loaded into yet another surprise. I actually, apparently, wasn't wearing any gear at all. It was all an illusion. Nothing made sense anymore. I wandered around for a little while with a broken leg and my melee out. Then met a nice gentleman. I kindly asked him to put me down, and he obliged. Some odd amount of server issues later, we got into a real game with real gear, got into a real fight, and I died real quick. Fast forward once again. It was time to get serious. There was an enemy inside the big red office. Arson had heard him in there, and the door was unlocked as well. I went upstairs. The enemy, conveniently enough, was going downstairs. He didn't scare me even a little bit, and I showed him who the one wearing the glasses in this relationship was. 14 out of 15 kills. We were 1 kill away from completing setup, so I got on top of the train to try and spot enemies across the river. No dice. We pushed across and made our way to Fortress, where we had heard fighting before. We pushed in, and Arson made quick work of the AI. I circled around outside to catch whoever this was in the bushes off guard. I missed. He didn't go down. I went back in to reload, and before I knew it, saw this enemy had pushed inside. Unbelievably, it was not me who got the finishing shot here. It was Arson. I still needed one more victim. I heard movement outside near the connexes, popped a few shots, but didn't hit. I went upstairs to get a better angle on things. It was here that things got a little tricky. There was a guy at the connexes in front of me, and there was a guy far right near the train cars with a sniper. This battle would last several minutes because of the constant repositioning from the guy close to me. The train guy far right held his position and had much better range than I did, so every time I went to peek him, he pushed me back. My better option was to fight the guy close, but he was so squirrely and would never reveal himself for long. When he did show, he'd quickly retreat and reposition. Why did this have to be the one enemy with any intelligence whatsoever? How I wished that he was dumb like the rest of them, so I could just end this. I kept rotating between the 2 options, hoping for an opportunity. Arson decided to push the sniper on the right side to take this fight into our own hands. Something had to be done. This was a complete stalemate. I rubbed a little chapstick on to prevent death, then Arson succeeded in killing the guy on the train tracks. The next thing that happened really racked my brain. I was seeing 2 players on my screen, if you can say I was seeing at all. I'm not gonna lie to you, these glasses I was wearing really hindered my vision by about 50%. Nevertheless, I had to quickly determine who was friend and who was foe. Thanks to Arson's quick communication and my incredible ability to listen to what he was saying, I determined who the enemy was, popped 2 shots off, and finished setup and Escape from Tarkov. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you disliked it, give it a thumbs down. Hit the subscribe button if you want more content like this. It really helps support the channel. If you ever want to catch one of these videos being filmed live, head on over to twitch.tv/finestxi and drop a follow. Thank you to all of my patrons. You guys help make videos like this one possible. And a special shout out to the VIP patrons: Nick RSA, Dr. Johan, Calabag, Hughes6707, Jokes with Dad, Def Not Dallas, Moreno, and Willy Boy Wonder. That's gonna be it for this one. If you guys want to watch the time I did the guide quest without my W key, then check out this video. Otherwise, maybe consider checking out my most recent video.